Well, the Tennessee Titans have done it again. They continue to show that bad ownership can ruin a franchise. We're going to get into the firing of Brian Callahan and why the hiring of Brian Callahan was the biggest problem and was going to eventually lead to this day. We're going to get into the history. Got a history there, having worked with her father. Amy Adams is the owner now. Her father, Bud Adams, is someone I work for with the Titans. We're going to get into what's ailing this team and why it's caused so many problems. But a reminder to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and help us reach our goals. 1-5 started the season. Not a very good team. Not a very good roster. But the fact that they were non-competitive. 4-19 as a head coach. That's what Brian Callahan was. They're moving on from him. They need to move on from him. But it was a bad hire. Why do you have bad hires? Look, part of what you need to understand is what you have and what you don't have. This goes back to the problems of getting rid of Mike Vrabel. You got a great coach, the best football guy in that organization by far, and you part ways with him. Oh yeah, he's doing a pretty good job in New England. It's not Mike Vrabel's problems. Okay, should have listened to him. But when you got an ownership that doesn't have a clue, you're dealing with, well, you part ways with them because we can't get along. Well, maybe if you can't get along, you're the problem and not the coach. And so you hire Rand Carthon, who was a disaster, and sold a bit of goods to him because he happened to be part of the 49ers organization, had very little to do with any of their success, had a title, and that's about it. It was awful. The roster's not very good. They do have a good general manager right now. At least a president of football operations, Chad Brinker, that is going to be a buffer and hopefully prevent future mistakes. Look, this is about them trying to at least save face this year, to try not to lose a good young quarterback that they've got something to build around. But again, organizations lose from the top. The Cleveland Browns are a disaster because of their owner. And the Titans are slowly but surely becoming a disaster. But at least Amy Adams, I think, has enough sense to hire someone to handle this, to fix the mess that she's caused. Hope that Chad Brinker and a really good young general manager that can help find a good coach that they can move forward with. Look, they've not been competitive. They've got a young quarterback that's trying to figure out how to lead when no one else in the building knows how to lead. That's a real problem. Brian Callahan was not ready for this job. He was hired to, quote unquote, find a young quarterback. I think they do have one, but he certainly hasn't done a good job of developing him. It's a real problem. It's one to learn that you lose and win in an organization from the top down. The most important thing in an organization is the owner, the second is the owner, the third is the owner. Why? Because the owner can screw up anything. You can have a great coach. You can have a great quarterback. You can have great fans. You can have great facilities. But if you got an owner that screws things up, that is so involved but is clueless on how to run things, it can ruin an entire franchise. That has happened. Look, I saw it happen firsthand when I worked for her dad, Bud Adams. We won in spite of the owner. We had success in spite of it. We had a buffer, and basically we decided who to take. Now, after I had left, I understand things changed. The owner forced the Vince Young pick and whatnot. These are the problems that take place. The owner is not accountable when a bad decision is made because you don't fire an owner. Jerry Jones is a different type of owner, but just as much of a problem in terms of impeding their ability to win. Look, Jerry's done a better job than Jimmy Haslam has or Amy Adams has. I'm not putting them in the same category in that regard. But this has been the problem in Tennessee, and I'm hoping for the future of this franchise that the owner can become just a silent person that will allow people with more ability to evaluate the situation, make their decision, and then hold them accountable. But when you force feed decisions and you make decisions like firing a really good coach like Mike Vrabel, then that is setting the stage for failure, because inevitably that was going to be a step down. And because maybe he expressed some things about the organization that was not real favorable, maybe not real kind, but needed to be stated, that should have been something you listened to and not just getting ticked off. Because he's out there winning in New England and you're out there losing, hiring yet another head coach. It's been head coach after head coach, general manager after general manager by an incompetent ownership. Reminder again, subscribe, like, and share so that you don't miss any of our football content. Check us out at LandryFootball.com as we break down all the latest information. Talk to you next time, everybody.